Harriet, are those ripe apples?
Yes, they're ripe apples, straight from the orchard of our farm here at Pleasant View. Have a seat. Welcome. I just had to go pick the apples, nice and ripe. We have a 42-acre farm out here, out the Grant Line Road. And we've had this for several years. My husband passed away 4 years ago. He's buried at Fairview Cemetery. Are you familiar with Fairview Cemetery? But we sure had enjoyed this farm. He was raised on a farm. As a matter of fact, his father, Robert LaFollette, was the first settler in Floyd County. I don't know if any of you knew that, but he was the very first one. You see, he lived in Pond Settlement over in Louisville, Kentucky. Well, he was just fed up with all the crowd over there, and being a man of adventure, he decided that he was going to cross the Ohio River in a canoe and see if he could find a place to build a cabin. Well, he did find a place, and he went back across the river, and he asked Martha Sampson for her hand in marriage. She said yes. He put her in the canoe, took her to the new cabin, and said, "Welcome home." He could step outside his front door and shoot bears. And a very interesting story that he loved to tell, Robert and Martha, was this. One time he decided he did have to go grind some corn. It was the winter, but the weather took a turn for the worse, and after he was at Tarascan Mill and got his corn ground, he couldn't get back across the Ohio because it was frozen. So Martha was there with their first newborn, Phoebe. She was there all by herself, and they had calls for the friendly Indians, but these sounds were not friendly. And she took the gun out the top of the door there, cradled that gun, and started talking as if Robert was home. She said, "Now Robert, when are those folks coming for Bible study? They only live 12 miles away, so they should be here any minute. Now we have that soup on, and let's see, we have bread. We're going to be doing Psalm 23, right, Robert? Let's recite Psalm 23. And she kept talking until they figured people were there or coming, and they did not get scalped. So Robert LaFollette did make his way back finally, but it took several days. But that's just what happened when you lived in the frontier and you were a pioneer person. You took the bitter with the sweet. Well, that land proved to be for them too muddy to build the crops that they wanted to, so they trekked off to another piece of land, and come to find out, it had a claim on it by the Nance family. But they had built some cabin, which was okay. They knew the Nances anyway. And now, where I'm talking about is out Main Street. So if you keep on going out Main Street, you run into first the ground next to the river, and then higher up was the second one, and then even higher up was the third one, and you could throw a rock and it would probably land in Harrison County. So they were right there on the line. And Martha and her husband Robert, they were married for 65 years, and they both died on that farm. They had an 80-acre farm with more orchards than we could even think of, and a beautiful spring, and everything. They had corn, they had potatoes, they had chickens, they had goats, they had a couple of cows, they had horses, they had mules, they had plows, everything to be as most self-sustained as they could be. And my husband and his father, Robert, they used to tease each other because Robert ended up paying taxes in 3 different counties. First it was to Harrison County, then it was to Clark County, then once New Albany was established in Floyd County, of course, paid taxes to New Albany. But he didn't mind. But my husband ended up being a judge, a special judge, for a number of counties his own self. So he was a special judge of Harrison County, of Floyd County, of Clark County, of Washington County, and of Orange County. So see, my husband wasn't a farmer, although he did farm, but he wanted to be a lawyer, and I think that is because Robert LaFollette. See, Robert LaFollette wanted to hear all sides of the story, and he got the newspaper. It wasn't just a Republican, he wasn't just a Democrat. He wanted to hear all the sides and debate. And the same way with religion, he didn't call it religion, he called it a relationship with the Lord. So if fur traders came by, Indians, people on their way to Oregon, people looking for land, stake their own claim, then you would have to come on in. We have plenty of food. We have plenty of fruit. We have plenty of water. And he'd open up the Bible. And then he'd say, read a passage, and then he'd say, what do you think about that? What do you think that says? So he was a born teacher, and he liked to discuss everything with the people, anybody that he met, just anybody. And I believe that's why my husband became a lawyer. So my husband studied at Indiana, and then first was a lawyer in Corydon, and then he met Catherine there. So they were married, then decided to move to New Albany on Bank Street, there with that Mr. Tooley. So he was a lawyer there, and they also had a place on Bank Street. Then she passed away, sadly. They had 2 children, but Judge David and we were married 25 years. And he wanted a farm. He ended up wanting this farm, because you just can't take the man out of the farm, if you know what I mean. He loved it. So I might have to sell, look into it, I don't know. I hope not, but it can be a lot. Well, we're out the Grant Line Road with 42 acres. I have 2 sons, and then the daughter from the first marriage that lived with us for a little while. You might know her. Her name's Harriet. Harriet LaFollette. She was a teacher at New Albany High School. Well, she got sick and became an invalid, and sadly she died 2 weeks before my husband died. But he always put God first and family. And my husband was an elder at Park Christian Church, but he got all of his pioneer spirit from his parents. He came from a large family. Robert LaFollette came from a large family. Originally, they came from France, then moved in Virginia. So, you know, that religious freedom and that love of the land just got in their bones, was in their bones to begin with, and farming was the way to go for Robert LaFollette and his wife Martha. And they both were in their 80s when they died. So they lived a good life. And I have lived a good life. We have lived a good life. But Floyd County is that pioneer spirit. Even the urban pioneers, as we call them, are doing so well. It's just the spirit of the people to try new things, such as we have our steamboat industry, and we have our New Albany Salem Railroad going, and we have our glass company, and our lumber yards, and just manufacturing, and we have the Ohio River, and we're just so blessed. So I believe that's why Floyd County is going to remain a beautiful place to live in the years to come. And if I can't live on this farm, so be it. But I'm definitely going to enjoy the apples while I can. Now, anybody out there want an apple? Because let me tell you, you never know when you're going to run into a teacher. You all have a blessed day.